Welcome back, everybody, to the REDX Podcast. Grateful to have you here. I'm Curtis. I'm usually the host, but we have a few other people. If you haven't been here, our whole goal is to have short conversations with people who absolutely know what they're talking about, not just in theory, but people that can give you something that you can take actionable or tactical advice and implement something into your business right now. We started this podcast in COVID, doing every single day, giving you something to do right now to try to drive business. And I think the podcast and who we're bringing on, especially today, is more important in today's market than it ever was during COVID, because COVID was still a pretty good real estate market. But right now is tough. And so the idea is to bring people on. And so I'm going to let him introduce himself, but welcome to the podcast, Jay.
Hey man, what's going on, buddy? It's good to see you, Curtis.
Good to see you. We, for everybody here, I'd be surprised if they don't know who you are. You've been around. I think we've known each other since, when did you first come out? 08?
Probably, yeah. So 06, 7, maybe 6, 7.
Yeah,
I would say somewhere right in there. One of our first flights, me and Mike Reese flew to REDX. When we started Kinder Reese back in the day.
Rockstar real estate, man.
Rockstar real estate, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
only a handful of people out there that know what that is.
So, well, look, so I know who you are. I'd be surprised if other people don't, but all the way back in the day, number one Coldwell Banker agent in the world. You did 500 transactions, then you have massive teams and you built massive associations. You've done a lot, but come to the brag table. Why should people listen to what you have to say today?
Yeah, man. Well, I think, my best mentors I've ever had always had done something what I was trying to do. But more importantly, they had helped other people do it too. That meant they knew how to break it down to principles and teach it. And I think that's super important. And I'd argue probably there's, a pretty good long list of people that would give me at least a little bit of credit for helping them build their empires. And so, I think that, I just love helping agents, man. Like it's for me, it's super rewarding. I think I just still have a chip on my shoulder for how hard it was when I got in the business. My saying that I say to people all the time is like, man, when you get into real estate, they should just give you a plaque that says, figure it out, because you're on your own, once you get licensed. Right. And, and it's hard, right? Like there's a million things to do. How do I get down to like, what do I do the first 90 days to sell a house? Like that's, so I have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder for how hard it was. And I didn't, once I figured it all out, I was like, man, it didn't have to be that hard. I could have, had someone help me a little bit better than the way I had to do this. And so I just enjoy helping agents. We help, thousands of agents. I've got over 8,000 agents in my network at EXP. And I'm always working on trying to help an agent get to a closed transaction and do something that's duplicatable and something that's predictable, something that's efficient. I still see companies out there. Some of them are claimed to be the best training companies, and they're telling people to do do an open house, do door knocking. These things are so archaic, and it's just frustrating, I think, for agents to not have clarity on what they should do to find success. And so yeah, I think Google me. My track record, I think, speaks for itself. But I'm here to help, man. Like humbly, I don't know everything. I'm just always trying to get better.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, and we appreciate you being here. For those of you watching, if you have questions, put them in the chat as we chat here for the next however long, 15 to however long minutes here. If there's book references or resources or tech or anything, we try to put the links in the comments for you. We try to answer your questions. So make sure that you participate in the one of the 100 platforms this is streaming on. And but Jay, I think what we want to jump into is this idea that, well, this came from really surveys that we did with team leaders and individual agents, is that we had a 10-year run. I mean, if I go back, you go, hey, well, we started syndicating all of our stuff to portals. Mm-hmm. That created this huge opportunity for them to just sell everything back to us. And it created this new lead generation market, this new lead market in the industry that didn't exist, until like 2015. I just pulled stats a week ago. The average lead cost for a real estate agent in 2015 was $15. Yeah. And the average lead cost today is $181. And that's probably not even considering some of these big portals that you're giving away 40% of your commission,
Oh, yeah.
right?
100%.
And so when sometimes I was in a team mastermind last week, and when everybody's doing 100 million, well, there was half of them doing 100 million in production. These teams, one team that was doing over 100 million said that their average cost per lead was $4,000.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to know their, first of all, I'd like to know their profit margin. I'd like to know if their production, I'd like to know if that was on the listing side, and I'd like to know their average sell price. Because all of that stuff matters, right? But that's insane. Yeah, it's insane that you can't operate. I think another unfortunate thing about this industry is we get into it with aspirations of selling more and not running a business and not looking at margins and not looking at efficiencies. We learn you have to become that person in order to get to these high levels that these teams operate at. But you still, you get sucked into these, the high cost customer acquisition cost things that you get lulled into it. And it's largely because you haven't learned the skill of marketing. And if you knew how to market, you would never do it. And so, but once you're on the crack, it's hard to get off of it. So,
well, that's better analogy that's probably a better analogy than I was going to use. I was going to say, do you feel like they're handcuffed, these golden handcuffs to these lead providers, and it's killing their margins in their business? They've kind of rented out. The other analogy I like is, they've kind of rented out this whole part of their business for lead generation. They don't have any systems that they own and can scale for their own lead generation.
You're beholden to, you got golden handcuffs on. And so I think, the strategy is to wean yourself off of it, and so, it might be a pillar of your business, but it should not define, a big subset, a certain percentage of your margin. And, most of the bigger teams are obviously gone to a larger scale brand in their marketplace where a lot of inbound comes in. They're doing a lot of marketing. They got a lot of relationship capital within the community. That all is the feeder that feeds everything. But when you're trying to scale the buy side of the business and trying to go to, there's agents selling, 2,000 homes. I've got agents that are, in our network. And I mean, at EXP, if you're not doing 1,000 transactions, I don't even think you're in the top 20 agents in the company. Like, that's nuts. And it's hard to do it. It's hard to do it with a high profit margin. And so you have, a lot of agents is the model. And that so it's not good. It's not bad. It's just what it is. If you're going to scale a team, you have to have lead generation, and these portals can provide the amount of leads necessary for you to get to a production per agent that makes sense. But I'm adamantly against it. My whole vision is to get you off of these portals completely through lead generation and more effective strategies that lower your CAC. And, we haven't talked about this, but like what we're doing now with AI is we're attacking this inefficiency in customer acquisition costs. So our ability to nail the message to the market and understand who the actual real buyers are in a marketplace, we've never been able to do that. And with using ChatGPT integrations, I can identify who's the most likely buyer that's going to buy this $750,000 new construction property I'm going to market. What image should I use? I can drive down lead costs just by leveraging ChatGPT to $3 per lead. So in the examples you're giving, that's a 5x savings for the average from years before. At 181, that's a 60x savings. So look how much of a gap there is in efficiency in that, just the lead generation and conversion. And with AI and conversion, that's a whole nother level of scale, especially for teams that, you got let's say you got 20 agents. Every team will tell you the same thing. It's Pareto principle. 20% of them kill it. The rest of them are terrible, at least at doing what they're supposed to do, saying what they're supposed to say the highest percentage of the time. Yeah. I think AI, think about this, Curtis. I think AI, think about how we treat ChatGPT today. Okay, God, tell me what to do. Right? We all, we use it. We whatever it says, it's pretty close to probably the best thing that we're going to, it's like having a mentor in your pocket. Yeah. When AI on the phone is as good as AI that ChatGPT, when you talk to AI there, consumers are going to want to talk to AI. Right now we don't. But I got a call from a sheriff. The sheriff's it was the highway, the Texas Highway Patrol, raising money. Okay, I get this call every year, and it's usually a human being, and I know it's a human being because they're really well spoken. Sounds like a Texas Highway Patrolman. This one was really good, and I wasn't sure at the end. I was like, that might. And then I heard a little glitch in between in the talk. He talked over me, but it tried to recover, and I was like, that's not a human. That's an actual. That's AI. The whole time, even my son was in the car. They were coming back from basketball, and they were like, that was a real person, wasn't it? Dad? I was like, no, bud, that was actually AI. And I was like, that's good. It was so good. I couldn't tell until the one little thing was the only thing that threw me off. And so like, there's going to be a point where AI is going to be able to make us all more efficient there. I believe that's coming sooner than later, depending on what regulations and what we're allowed to do. But it's all about efficiency, man. You know, I've always, respected REDX as one of the main providers of a tool that you can be the most efficient with. And so I'm sure we can talk about that here as well. But it's interesting times right now. And, the agents that are starting to get off of this 41.5%, man, you're talking about that's about a $4,000 customer acquisition cost. In fact, that Matthew gave me, it's probably someone on Zillow Flex, and it's not you're building if you're on that and you're a team and you're listening to this, you're literally putting these bars up, and it's called a prison that you're building around yourself, and you'll never get out of it. And I did it myself, so I know. I've been in jail before. It's not where you want to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. We could talk about AI for days, but I want to talk about just the efficiency in marketing and ad spend, because something that we talk a lot about at REDX right now is the right message to the right person at the right time is right. I mean, this is how you save.
This is high level marketing that people that understand it. You either know who Dan Kennedy is or you're not a marketer. Like, you either understand direct response marketing. Like, if you've never heard the name Dan Kennedy, then you aren't a student of marketing. He's the godfather of godfathers. You know what I mean? So like what you're saying is message to market match. It is 100%. And in every marketplace, this is what, I love it when the market shifts, because it creates new, people, when people are scared, people are concerned, they don't know what to do. There's kind of conversations at the dinner table people are having. You can start to, with a tuning fork, speak to the right people that are actually buyers once you know who those buyers are. And that's, and sellers at the same situation. So it makes it easier for better marketers when the market shifts. When everything's good and everything works, nobody has to be really good at marketing. So yeah, it's definitely, you just had a bird smash the window behind you. Right there. That's like the average agent feels right now. That's like
the average agent trying to figure things out right there.
Trying to figure it out. That's really How do I get in there?
So, well, look, I mean, we talk a lot about, I'm going to shamelessly talk about REDX.
Well, sure.
And expireds and canceleds, that's where we started 22 years ago. And we do, it's actually not the biggest part of our business anymore. We do so much more with the marketing tools, everything, but right now expires are coming. We're like 30% increase in expired and canceled over last year. Terminations are at an all-time high yet. And I shared this with you pre-show here. Right now, as of October, whatever, we, it's 45.5% of all cancels and expireds will end up back on the MLS in an average time of 40 days.
It is.
So
go ahead.
So if I was going to pick an audience to market to, I can pick some predictive list that says we think these people are likely to sell. I could pick my database. I could pick whatever. Or there's no other list. There's no other list where 50% of them are going to end up back on the MLS. The only question is are you going to be able to get their attention to be able to try to be the agent that they list with? And so the idea of efficiency, of being able to see, people don't even know they can do this. So here's the biggest tip of the whole podcast so far. You can take the list of expireds and you can put it on social media and you can target just those people.
Right. Yeah. No brainer. Yeah. It is. You think about this, like, I wish this was possible. I wish I could, turn turn all the lights off in a city and go over the neighborhoods and just shine a black light over the whole neighborhood and to see which ones light up purple. And those are the people that are going to sell in the next 90 days. I wish that was possible. It's not. But when you want to go direct mail in a whole neighborhood or market to a whole audience, that's what you're doing. You're marketing to thousands of homes to find just the ones that want to do business. Yeah. And 45%, nearly half of the people that are expired are going to relist in the next, what'd you say, how many days?
40. Right now, the average is 40.
In the next 40 days, half of them are going to say, why are you not marketing to them? Why are you not calling them? Why are you not going after that business? The cost to acquire that customer is literally $0 or to $5 probably, right?
Yeah.
It's such a low cost of acquisition. But again, 10 years go by, there's 10 agents 10 years of turnover of agents never going after expireds. More importantly, most of them have never developed the skills to even make those phone calls and have those conversations. Yeah. It's just part, if you interview the top 100 agents today in the industry that are, built these big teams, I would venture to say for me in coaching, it was 100. It wasn't 95. It was 100% of them built off of expires. That was the cash flow they needed to build their business. And they all did it, And so from a coaching perspective, I can tell you that the biggest teams I've ever seen, they all did it. Maybe there's somebody out there that never did it. I'm sure there probably are, but I would say it's a high percentage, maybe 80-90% of the top agents in the world leveraged if they at some point this, and then probably put an ISA on it and still has that part of their business in place or are reactivating it because of the shift in the market.
Well, what I love being a marketer, coming up in the same years, even following you and Mike and Dan Kennedy, and
we're at all the same conferences.
Going all the same conferences and all that stuff is, as a marketer, I start to see the shift in the marketplace where I actually used to say, you don't need to be a marketer as an agent. Quit trying to be a marketer. That's what I used to say 10 years ago. Yeah. And now I'm like, well, at a minimum, you got to think like a marketer. Yeah. Sure. Which is you got to understand who the audience is and then the message. And I want to come back to what you said about ChatGPT and the efficiency there. We did some surveys with expired homeowners. And so here's something I can give back here to you, Jay, is most of the time we think of the prominent emotion that an expired has is they're angry or frustrated. Right. But one of the most prominent emotions that expireds feel, and this is important because now you can take this to ChatGPT and you can have it craft a message, is embarrassment. Ooh. And the reason is you think about, you have a sign in your yard, you have a family, you've said goodbye to everybody, you go to church, you've told everybody you're leaving at church, you go to your PTA and you're like, all right, here I'm pulling the kids out. And when it doesn't sell, it's embarrassing. Now that comes out as an agent, like freaking agent didn't do his job, or I'm angry. Yeah. But if you want to lower your acquisition cost on social media, then just make a video that says, man, it could be kind of embarrassing and pretty frustrating when your home doesn't sell after you've said goodbye to everybody. And every single expired that's in that situation is you don't need 50 ads to get in front of them at that point. Yeah. Right. No, that's going to get right.
Tuning fork, ding, right to the heart of it. Yep.
That's right. And the great thing is people are like, well, I don't know how to do, I don't know how to write an ad. Well, you don't even have to know how to do that. You just have to know a little bit. I usually tell people the first $20 you should spend in real estate is your ChatGPT paid ChatGPT account, right? I mean, that's the first $20 you should spend.
100%.
But you can go. So tell me more let's talk about that.
You're on it, dude. That's exactly this is what we're doing now. And it's crazy because a lot of this stuff you'll think you kind of know, but you probably wouldn't have built a strategy around it. And so like in Frisco, if I said, hey, what is the sweet spot? These are the cities I'm thinking about marketing to. What's the sweet spot? It's going to give it to you, the price point. And then we ask you, who is the most likely buyer for that home, that location, that address? And it's going to give you an avatar or two. For Frisco is interesting. One is people moving from Florida, Washington, Oregon, most likely tech job at Toyota or Dr. Pepper Keurig. Average age 45, kids ages this, hopes, fears, concerns, desires, or this. Like, it's so good, dude. It's so good. And so the other subset of the market was like people that live, these two cities next to me are like Carrollton, the Colony. They've always wanted to get their kids in the Frisco school district, and they're trying to, they have a home to sell. So about 40 to 60% of the time, it's gonna give you a price point where 40 to 60% of these people have a home to sell. Some of them will be local, some of them will be moving from somewhere else. And so like when you have that kind of real clear understanding of the data set, who you're talking to, now you can create content. You can generate that lead because we know how to market to that audience at $3 to $5 all day long on Meta. Like if you're good at marketing, this is not difficult. So 100 leads, you're going to speak to 30, you're going to set 7 appointments, and you're going to have 2 sales. Like, it's a mathematical equation that you can hit. And so that's a just in that in and of itself is really good. But where we've used that ChatGPT is say, now give us 10 video scripts based on those hopes, fears, concerns, and desires that we can put in the follow-up sequence to this subset of people, because 70% of them you're not going to talk to. Now you're hitting them with that tuning fork again. You're doing the same thing, dog. It's like there's nobody that thinks this way, dude. Like there's nobody. If you're watching and listening to this right now, I guarantee you nobody that's selling you these tools and all the lead gen is a marketer like this. And so when you're a really good marketer, you know how to talk to, you have empathy for and understand the concerns, and you can communicate effectively. If you leverage ChatGPT, it'll help you with this. But you can create content that really, they're just like, oh my God, you become an expert. There's no substitute. Right. You can't be, you got to be knowledgeable. If you're going to advertise 3.9% financing on new construction in Frisco as an ad, you better know which builders are offering, 3.9% financing and what the benefits are and what is included in the new build here and what's not over here. But if that expertise translates in the conversation, you build trust, because we're trying to take people that don't know you, whether it's expireds, it's FSBOs, it's neighborhood data, that we're circle, all of that, or just meta marketing. Is you're trying to move but you're trying to add to a pillar of your business from repeat referral, people that already know, like, and trust you, to people that don't know who you are. And you got to build trust through marketing or a conversation. That's it. If we increase conversations per day with people who want to buy and sell and are open to doing business with you, that's a leading indicator. At the end, that is where the sales come. And so, this is the new game we're playing. And I love it, because nobody, we're just miles ahead of people in terms of thinking about it. How do you leverage it? And so it's fun, man. I love it, man. I'm having a blast.
I think it's funny, because even as a marketer, and this is kind of a tangent, but as I associate with a lot of marketers, you have the laggers that are like worried that AI just took away all of the skill that they had. And I'm like, I'm having fun, because the amount of things you can do, and the reduced, what I love is the reduced testing. Yeah. Right. I mean, when you can put when your best foot forward is almost perfect every time, because of the amount of research that can be done.
These are all things that, with like all that stuff, I was like, man, I kind of knew that, but I probably wouldn't have created content around it. Like I could pick the image, I could pick the image. Braden used to pick all the images, and like he was on the phone. I was like, dude, we got to delegate this. This has got to get off your plate, dude. You're spending too much time picking images. He's like, it's important. And it is important, because if you pick the wrong image, it's going to triple your lead cost. And so that's a big deal. 3 times more leads for the same budget is a big deal in terms of efficiency. You got to pick, but it was a choice, and it was human, and errors can be made. And so then you got to go in and iterate on it. You got to pay more attention to it. The efficiency of letting ChatGPT do that, they don't make a mistake. It works. I mean, we don't have to go back, we check it, but we don't have to go back and change it. And that's just, again, efficiencies across the board. And so, it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, I was good at guessing. I would guess I got pretty good at guessing, but it's way better to use, the big brain for that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring this down to the dirt a little bit for, individual agents that are watching. It's like, they're worried about paying their bills, worried about where their next deal's coming from. Where do they start with it all?
Yeah, I mean, you're in a business, and whether you've been doing it for a long time or you're brand new, you got to have a plan. And I'll share this story. I had an Uber driver that was taking me to a Mavericks game in March, and he just got his license, and it was me and Ryan Finch, and Finch used to sell 1,000 homes a year. So like this guy hit the jackpot as far as like rides, but he didn't know, but he was super confident. He's like, I interviewed 9 brokerages. I'm going with this lady. She told me all this stuff. And like, I'm over here, he's brand new. And so I'm like, oh, he don't know yet that he's about to get the plaque, figure it out, good. My pictures are done for my car. So he was really happy about all this stuff that she was going to do for him. I said, dude, what's your goal, dude? He said, man, I want to stop driving Uber. I said, how much money do you need to make to do that? He said, $15,000 a month. I said, that's a house and a half in Dallas. So we're going to say 2 houses. I said, go back to the broker. I said, ask them what exactly the plan is to get you selling 2 houses a month in the next 90 days. And so he goes back to the broker, and she says, she got real frustrated actually. And she's like, well, if you think they're more valuable, you can just go with them. He was blown away, because he was like just trying to be loyal and, to what he said he was going to do. And he comes over with us. We build the same ads based on this structure. We build out the tech. We do all this stuff for all the agents that join with us, and turned it on. And on day 3, we do a review with the agent, see if you've had conversations. He has a listing and a buyer and another buyer. So he's got a list sell and a buy. Now, in my mind, I'm like, you think you have this, but you're a brand new agent, so I don't think you got anything yet. But he came to my house last Friday, and he capped at EXP. He didn't even know what it meant. I said, I looked at my EXP. I said, how many deals you closed? He said 8, 81,000 in commissions. And I was like, dude, you just capped. He's like, what does that mean? Like, he didn't even, that's how green this guy was. So like, no experience in real estate, doesn't know, but I increased his conversations per day with people that want to buy and sell. And that is it's the only metric that matters. I don't care what you're doing. If it was me, I would learn the skills as much as you can, role play, get on REDX, start calling expireds. You're going to get no's, you're going to get hung up on, but you're going to learn and you're going to develop skills. I think those skills, they last you a lifetime. You put me in any market, anywhere today, I haven't called an expired in 15 years, and I'll set appointments all day long, and I'll be able to make a living. And so I think that skill, developing that skill is super important. And that's where I would personally go, because I had those skills. So FSBO expired is where I would probably start. And then, you shared a little bit of this, as we were discussing, but, looking at neighborhoods that have the highest turnover rates, looking specifically at owner occupied and marketing to them versus absentee owners. I would start niching down to where's the highest turnover rate if I'm going to be making calls or doing direct mail or just running ads. But I think you have to develop the skill of turning strangers into people that trust you. And so, understanding in a marketplace, what is the buyer that's buying this particular home, and creating content around that, and putting that, not put it into YouTube and wait for the algorithm gods to show it to people. Don't pay somebody $24,000 to build your YouTube channel. Like that is a year from now, you're going to be like, this was the stupidest thing I ever did. Cause we're actually about 2 months into it. You're going to be like, okay, I'm done shooting these damn videos. So it's a good strategy, but let's put it in front of the right people as quickly as possible. Right. And you need to have a budget, and you need to be willing to invest in your business and pay attention to what it costs to acquire a customer. And so developing those skills is what I would say. Or, obviously, shameless plug, you should call me. I do it all for you, and I don't charge you. Right. That's what we do. So, it's a solution. Get around the right people is what I would say.
Yeah, it's awesome. I had a thought there. How much of the skill of being able to talk and know what to say to certain buyers came from the time that you spent on the phone?
Oh man. So it came in two ways. It came in getting face to face, especially at FSBOs. FSBOs, they put their phone number on the sign, y'all. Like they will answer the phone. So, they don't know an agent from not an agent, and they're out there practicing. These people haven't ever sold anything before, like not a house. So they're like, yeah, let me tell you about it. They'll tell you their whole life story. Man, it sounds great. Would you mind if I looked at it? Oh, somebody wants to see my house, especially in today's market. It's easy to get face to face. There's a whole nother set of skills in terms of being able to persuade someone to list the home with you that you have to develop. Right. And I went through a whole lot more. That didn't work. Iterate. Yeah. To get to that. But then once somebody said yes, I was like, oh, this works. So. I think that the developing of this skill doesn't take that long. If you're being trained by someone who's done this before, let me tell you, this was how I became. I almost probably would have failed in real estate because of this, but I had a coach, and my coach gave me the script, and I'm following the script, and I tell him the script doesn't work. There's like these leads suck, right? I told him the script wasn't working. So he said, record your calls. This is back when there was a tape. I had a tape, a little cord that went to my phone. So I did it, and honestly, I thought I was following the script, but I wasn't. I changed it, and so I read when he listened to the calls. I was like, "See, told you I was following the script." Nope. He's like, "Play it again." I was like, "Oh yeah, but I mean, I followed the script, Well,
kinda.
Yeah, he said, follow the damn script. Like you changed it, and when you change it, you change the context of what this means, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know it meant anything. And the next week I was like, all right, I'll follow the script word for word. Here we go. And I did it. And I started setting appointments. And I was like, whoa, I almost wrote this whole thing off as not working. And it was me. Right. And so like I learned early on that if it's not working, it's probably me. And that's, I think that mindset is probably missing. And for a lot of agents, if you haven't had an experience like that, you think something's not working when it's probably you not following the process. And so I think you want to learn from someone who has a proven scripting and dialogue process that they're teaching you, and then be a really good student, and then just get your reps in. Like that's it. You'll get there. You'll get there. You're practicing on free leads, yo. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is not, what you want to do. You want to start spending money on marketing and then learn, like, practice on the free ones, yo. Like, that's a crazy, it's the easiest way to do it. And it's, there's new expires every day. All right, let me try this. Let me take my beating again today. People would hang up on me. It's a game. Just, you have nothing to lose. They say no. What happens? Nothing. You go into the next one. So don't be afraid of it. Attack it. I think once you develop, and there, you know all of them. You see them. They come through the ranks, man. You see an agent. Oh, that one wasn't scared. He made those calls. She made those calls. Boom. They're off to the races. Now they're selling 50. Now they're selling 150. Now they got a big team. They got to develop the skill. And, it's don't be afraid. If you're afraid to do it, you should probably attack it.
Yeah, I love it. For everybody listening, there's one benefit. This is dangerous for me to say, but one benefit of the market right now is that all the people who were posing as coaches and trainers and successful agents trying to get money from me to teach agents what to do. They're dropping out.
Yeah.
And so the people that remain, so as you're saying, go find somebody to teach you how to do it. It's a good time to find somebody, because the people who are really succeeding, and teaching agents and getting actual results, they're still around teaching. So, Jay, how do people get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you? What's the best way to do that?
Oh, man, shoot, I would say, you go to Instagram, jkinder82, message me on there. That's probably the easiest if you're on the gram. I'm easy to find. Just Google me. There's probably 2 or 3 links to get to me. Yep.
Well, Jay, appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Everybody else, we're here every Thursday, so make sure you tune in and reach out to Jay. Google him, reach out to his team, see what he has to offer. If you are ready to get going with REDX, we have all of the data, but not just the data, but all the marketing tools that we've been talking about today. So we have the way to connect to social media and to target those people, and direct mail and the phone and everything else. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.